All right. So, hi, I'm back again with my what I like to call my Virginia beauty queen, Miss Stephany DeBerry. I'm going to let her discuss with you today about her new and thriving podcast, Restore Her, and also a couple of things that she has going on in her area. And we're going to jump right into the conversation. So, Stephanie, handing over to you.
Thank you, Kay. I appreciate the opportunity to share with you and your audience more about myself and Restore Her. So, hi, everybody. I am Stephany DeBerry, the founder and executive director of Restore Her. We are a 501c3 nonprofit organization headquartered in the nation's capital, Washington, D.C. Um, Restore Her supports divorced women. And there's not too many nonprofits like us across the area. We specifically support divorced women in four key areas, and they are financial literacy services, mental health services, housing, and access to legal resources. This organization came to be just about 3 years ago as a result of me going through my own divorce and just wanting to support women through the process because having been married and then the ending of that marriage can be devastating to all parties, including the other spouse as well as
Mhm.
the children. I believe myself, my family, and my former husband as well, we've come through pretty decently compared to, some other situations and things that I had heard. And so I wanted to do my part, bring my professional expertise as well as my resources and my network to assist other women and families as smoothly as possible through the process.
Awesome, awesome. So, with that being said, why did you choose? I know that you said because of what you went through, and then you were basically wanting to give back to others what they could have um, to thrive onward after the divorce. But
Mhm.
still, you have so many other things that go on for you. So still like I'm just like, why divorce? Like, did it really just tug at your heart? Or is it because of the stories and you just like, I just want to do something about it? Like, what exactly was your aha moment that you were saying, I have to do this and this is what I'm going to put my focus on?
Yeah, that's a great question, Kay. And for me, to your point, I have many things that I do
Right.
and can do, like you, and we can be really good at many things. I'm definitely a woman of many gifts, skills, and talents, such as yourself. And I do believe God gives us those, right? Definitely, and to use them. And so, as far as me starting Restore Her, actually, I was in high school and I worked for the Urban League and I was a peer tutor. And that's a major nonprofit organization all across the country, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I knew then as a high school student, just based on all the services they provided, I said, one day I want to do that. I want to have my own nonprofit. I didn't know really what I was saying, but I just knew I wanted to be involved in the community, give back.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed being a receiver of some of the services they gave. But then I also looked at it like, wow, this is something I can do too, give back, assist, help, support. And so for me, it was a combination, Kay. It definitely was, pulls at my heartstrings. It Restore Her just encompasses everything that I am
Mm-hmm.
actually, and so much of what I've done. We provide housing service. I'm a realtor. We provide financial literacy. I worked in banking and I'm an insurance provider, right? Mental health service as well. I've had my own challenges and been through therapy, right? And so the only thing I didn't really have to access was the legal resources because my husband and I, ex-husband, we got a divorce more amicably,
Mm-hmm.
thankfully. right? Saved a lot of money that way. And so for me, there's a scripture, I can't recall it directly. It's in Revelations though, and it says we overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. And so I'm always a sharer of my testimony. And
Yeah.
I think I told God many years ago, you could trust me because I'm going to share it because I believe I came out well through this process or better than not um, because of God,
Right.
right? So all credit due. And so I believe Restore Her is my testimony, right? It
Yeah.
really is. And so I don't believe God, allowed me to go through in such a way just for Stephany or just for my children or
Mm-hmm.
just for my former husband, but for me to be able to encourage women through the process, support them through the process, and provide them with the resources and things that they need to successfully transition into what I believe could really be their next best season because we also know the word says that the latter will be better than the former.
Mm-hmm.
And even though it's challenging and devastating and very traumatizing for many to go through divorce, God can, what does he say? Beauty for ashes, right? Like
Yes.
we just don't really understand what lies ahead in so many instances for us when we're afraid, when we know that we should probably make a different move, when we know we keep feeling it, we keep, hearing it in our ear, we keep getting all the signs. I'm like that, God, show me a sign, right? And we get all of that, and we're still, we're human. We're still fearful, we still procrastinate.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes, and we don't advocate for a divorce, the woman makes her own decision. But when you take that first step and you realize that God is not going to let you fall, it may be challenging, it may be difficult, but you realize God's got you. And I always say God works through people, right?
Right.
He's got you through the support system. He's got you through the program. He's got, you know what I mean? Through all these things. And so for me, everything I am, I think everything I want to be, as far as I can see, is Restore Her,
Yeah.
right? So, it really is everything that I do, really.
Awesome.
Um,
I love that. So,
Thank you.
what is the biggest misconception that people have about divorced women that you would like to break down to clear that in the air?
Yeah, I think for a lot of, just how we've been conditioned through society,
Mm-hmm.
and I hate to say it because it can be very painful. It's almost like a divorced woman, especially at my age, which is over 50, right? Almost like you're damaged goods
Yeah.
or used goods. Like, and we understand that sometimes when a woman gets pregnant, has a baby by the baby daddy, and that, they're not together anymore. Oh, she's used goods, right? Just
Mm-hmm.
that very misogynistic way of degrading. That's how I'm going to look at it. Degrading women, making women feel less than. I believe that that's one of the hardest things for women, right? One of the hardest things, let me say that, is because our identity has been so tied up into a marriage, whether good or bad, right? I'm such and such wife, that's goals, right?
Yeah.
And so now all of a sudden you have to cut ties, right? Your identity has to pivot and shift. Not that you're a different person, but some of us have to reclaim that and then to go out into a world that may not be welcoming based on a status, based on your connection to somebody else, that's kind of painful.
Very
It
much
really
so.
is painful because I know that plays over and over in women's head, or they feel like they're out of time. Are they ever going to find love again or another relationship? Again, all of these things because they feel like, oh, I might have had my one opportunity. Because most of us, I would think, get married thinking this is it. That's most
Mhm.
people, right? You
Right.
don't have a plan for husband 2, 3 or partner 2, 3, 4. And so I think that weighs very heavily. So what I would like to say is for the women, first of all, we're not damaged goods, number one,
Right.
right? We're not damaged goods. If anything, especially as we mature, and for the women that are really willing to do the introspection, to do the healing, because no relationship is all one person, we know that,
Right.
right? And really look at themselves, then I would say, no, it's not even close to damaged goods. It's more healed, more experienced, a more evolved woman,
Right.
right?
Right.
Eventually a more secure woman, a more confident woman. Because from my experience of working with these women, we hear the stories. Well, back then I didn't know this, and now I know this. Or back then I didn't advocate for myself, and I let him or her, whoever, do whatever they wanted to do. I was a doormat. Now I know better. Now I know how to set boundaries, right? And so no, we're not damaged goods, right?
Right.
Maybe slightly broken, but we know what God does with broken pieces.
Oh yeah.
Puts it together better than ever. So I would say I think that's one of the biggest things is that women feel a lower sense of self-esteem, and society doesn't help with their views.
Mm.
But I'm living proof,
Very much so.
right? We are far from damaged. We are actually just, for me, better than I've ever been.
Yeah.
And I want to be careful not to make it where you got to go through a divorce to be more confident, to be more healed. That's not what I'm saying.
Right.
But
Right.
I am saying sometimes, as a result of the trials, as a result of the trauma, as a result of the fire that
Hmm.
we go through in these situations, it doesn't mean that God has left you or forsaken you.
Mm-mm.
If you believe, have faith, take the steps, find the support, you'll just be overwhelmingly surprised at what is in store.
I love that. So, speaking of restore, what does restoration look like in your organization?
Oh my goodness, I love that. So the biggest piece for me, and Restore wasn't even our first name, our
Right.
original name. You know that you've been around. It was redeveloper. So that whole Restore is very significant. We know
Hmm.
names are significant. We name our children. We have our own names, and they mean something. And so for Restore, what it means for me, and what I want to women to feel through the organization, no matter what their faith, no matter what their background is, because we're open to all women, all shapes, sizes, colors, hues, right? We need a sisterhood. What restore means to me is all things are possible through God, right?
Hmm.
Because God is the restorer, right?
Yes.
Restorer, right? Ultimately. So all that we lost, right? Which a lot of it, like I said, was ourselves, right? Our self-esteem, our confidence, right? All of that can be restored. All that can be rebuilt,
Right.
right? To new levels. And so for me, I think that's one of the most important aspects of Restore Her is helping that woman regain her identity if she's
Right.
lost it. And that identity goes back to God, goes back to source, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to say God, to say that you had a purpose well
Hmm.
before you were ever connected to a spouse,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And just because you're no longer connected to that spouse in the same way does not mean you still don't have purpose
Mm.
to live.
That's right.
Right. And so to me, that's the biggest piece, the financial literacy, the health and wellness, and the housing. Yes, we're going to help you do all of that. But first, we want you to recognize who you are, right?
Right.
Because when you know who you are, when you regain that sense of self, can nothing stop you.
Very much so.
So that's for me, that's the biggest piece. Is
Oh.
coming through this, rebuilding that relationship with yourself. Because a lot of the women are, definitely were wives, but also mothers. And we just know being nurturers and givers, you have sons, you have children, you pour
Hmm.
into everybody else. And a lot of times we're the last ones. We're working at a deficit
Right.
in many instances, right? Married or divorced, doesn't matter. We pour into ourselves last. Now we got to refocus. And
Right.
there's nothing wrong with that. Put the focus back on yourself, rebuild yourself back up, and just watch. Just
Yeah.
watch what can happen,
Yeah.
right?
I love that. So when it comes to restoring yourself, there's also a rediscovery happening, sorry, within themselves as well. And because like you said, we get tied into our partners, or husband, wife, um, when it comes to having that relationship. And it's hard to discover yourself. I named my Instagram page, Discovering K, for that very reason. I was
Mm-hmm.
going through a time in my marriage when my account was something different, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna get another account, and I wanted to take the time to discover who I was outside of not just a marriage, but just who I am as a person, period, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I still use it as a personal diary, creative diary for myself as well. But it's hard sometimes to piece together who you are because you still long for that time of companionship
Mm-hmm.
and having a family and everything else. And so sometimes it's like almost a what do they call it when you pretend to be something that you're not? Like
Imposter syndrome.
imposter syndrome. Yes. So it's kind of like that. You having to be an imposter when it comes to your life now. And how do what's an advice you can give someone that is kind of like going through that portion?
Right, the discovering themselves
Yeah.
aspect.
Hmm.
I would say definitely I agree with you. It's a process. And I believe that we're all on a healing journey, whether divorced or not, right?
Yeah.
And so I don't think any of us are ever fully healed. If we were, we wouldn't need God, right?
Hmm.
However, I do believe we get healing in certain areas more than others, achieve it faster in certain areas more than others. But what I would say is, I don't know if it's imposter syndrome or as much as I would say, sometimes we have to faith it until we make it, right?
Yeah.
Because that's part of if we have faith and we believe, we have to put that thing out there, right? Even when you're not feeling confident, right? You have to trick your mind. It's you, right? Our minds are so powerful, right?
Yes.
We have to repivot and say, but I am this, right? But I am that. We teach our kids to do it all the time,
Right.
right? We teach them to speak life, right, into themselves and situations. And so it's hard for us because, again, I said we pour into other people, but now we have to be the ones to encourage ourselves because
Right.
many times we're going through this on our own. Sometimes, your family doesn't understand. They told you stay with him or her. That's a good person. You hear,
Yeah.
like, that's a good man. He take care of the
Hmm.
family. Meanwhile, they don't know what's going on,
Yeah.
right? And so at the end of the day, it's a lonely journey to your point. And sometimes you do want that companionship, and that's absolutely human,
Right.
right? And I do believe we were created for intimacy and companionship and everything that comes with that. But I also feel like we have to get comfortable with discovering ourselves because when we really get into the ins and outs, the beautiful aspects of ourselves and the not so pretty aspects of ourselves, right? That's when
Hmm.
we really get to learn so that our next relationships, right? Because most of us do want a next relationship. I
Yes.
know some of us have been kind of traumatized, but ultimately people do want that companionship. And so I believe it's okay. We got to feel all of those feelings and know
Yeah.
that you're not being fake, right? You actually are on the way to achieving whatever it is you see yourself as, right? Like some people say it is really already done,
Yeah.
right? Where you are today just has to arrive with where you say you want to be.
That's
And
right.
so that's how I looked at it. And the more we talk to ourselves, the more we encourage ourselves, and the more we get around people when we choose to, especially when we're going through those dark spaces and places, the more we try to encourage ourselves and be in places of synergy,
Mm,
that helps. Because it's easy to fall back and just be like, okay, I'm gonna do this on my own. I don't want to be around anybody. I gotta process this, we see all this stuff. And you do. But I also think we have to come up for air, right? We have to get into real community, real people, our tribe that actually supports us. Because
right.
we know everybody don't support you that look like you. That's your family. That's your close friends. And so I think that's important. Actually, Restore Her, we did a session on that last month. Your tribe is your vibe.
Oh,
You
I
got
love
to
that.
find, I know, right? It was a really good session. You got to find the people that you vibe with. But part of that comes through that self-discovery. Because guess what you get to do in self-discovery? You can design everything from that moment forward.
Yep.
Nothing has to look like what you came from, right? And so when you discover yourself, you can say, you know what, I'm aligned this way, I'm gonna do this different, I'm gonna do that differently. So that everything works to what you believe is gonna be your greatest good, right? So even in that pain, even in that loneliness and longing, I should say, because sometimes you're not always lonely,
Right.
right? You just got to get used to
Mm-hmm.
being in that space on your own. Speak life into yourself. And I believe we're the ones responsible for our next anyway. We're
Yeah.
ultimately responsible for how everything turns out. We can try to shift blame, we can try to say it's somebody else. So I think that
Mm-hmm.
is important to recognize. We have the ability to just come out of that situation just so much brighter, right? Brighter than we've ever been. And there's nothing wrong with believing that it's already happened before you feel it. That's what it is. Your
Yes.
feelings have to align with what you believe.
That's right. So,
So,
I love that, Stephanie.
we vibe.
All the time. So, self-care. I love self-care, right? And both of us are Pisces.
Yes.
So, I'm big on letting water be my element of healing space for me. But
Yeah.
when it comes to having self-care, what does that truly mean in the process of restoration for you?
Ooh, we're very similar in that of water. I'm such a
Mhm.
water. Oh my gosh. Put me next to the bathtub, though. For me, it's not always like I remember when I first, that term self-care, and it does mean to some degree indulging, right, in
Mhm.
yourself and making yourself feel good. But I think more importantly, self-care is just telling folks no. Self-care, self-care is, you know what? I'm in my room all weekend, just me, and I have three kids running around.
Me.
Self-care is self, right? Whatever that means to me, right? It's not just the extras, the getting the nails and the spa treatments and taking yourself shopping. I love that. I believe that's external,
Hmm.
feel good stuff. However, I believe self-care is just taking the time and sit with self, listen to self, honor self,
Yes.
right? And sometimes that's just being quiet, right? Or sometimes that could just be walking in the yard and with your shoes off, right? Grounding,
Grounding.
right?
Yeah.
Exactly. Sometimes that could just be as simple as reading a book or having a cup of coffee without anybody around to disturb you, right?
Hmm.
So self-care, I think, is just what's important to you, what makes you feel good about you, right? And it doesn't, I want to make sure your listeners, it doesn't always mean spending money.
Yep. I was just gonna get to that.
Yeah, it doesn't always mean that. What are ways, and maybe we should do that as a challenge, creative ways that you can take care of self, which then in turn makes you feel better about yourself. And we know when we feel good about ourselves, that just gets all put out in the atmosphere and draws all
Yes.
types of beautiful energy and people and
Yes.
experiences to us. So for me, I would say my self-care sometimes is just retreating and being alone. Like I have no problem just being alone and in my own head, in my own mind, and I'm not bothering anybody,
Mm-hmm. There
right?
you go.
So I would say self-care is really tuning into yourself and sometimes fine-tuning those areas that only you know,
Right.
right? Need to be addressed. And sometimes that just means sitting with ourselves and learn to be comfortable with that. Because if you're going through a divorce and you've been around a husband and sometimes kids and extended family, I would say it might be a little challenging to get to that space.
Right.
Um, but when you do get there and when you
Mm.
enjoy your own company,
It's beautiful.
exactly.
Yeah. I love that you brought up that it doesn't require money because sometimes when it comes to self-care, a lot of people can't afford to go get their nails done, can't afford a spa, can't afford to go shopping. Shopping is really not self-care. Okay. Maybe that's just something you want to do. But if
Right.
it makes you feel good, that's okay. But
Exactly.
but it I'm glad that you said that because some people don't know, and some people don't know what else they could do to have self care. And it doesn't have to be self care isn't just about divorced women either. It's
Nope.
everyone, an
Yep.
individual. And I think that a lot of people, well, we had a time where a lot of people were into self care. That was like a trend at one point a couple of
Yeah.
years ago. Um, but now people aren't doing as much self-care because everyone is on top of their social game and want to, and like I was saying, having that imposter syndrome and all that, and they don't get the chance to just sit and be quiet because they feel like, oh, I gotta do this, I gotta take a picture of my food, I gotta do this. Like nothing's quiet in their head, and that's
Right.
including me. Like I go
Right.
somewhere and I just want to chill, but then I'm like, I need to take a picture of that. I'm like, why? Why do I do that? Like, I need to enjoy the moment. So if I don't turn
Be
my phone
present.
on, yeah, if
Hmm.
I don't put that phone on silent, like my mind is just all over the place. So
No,
I love that.
you and many of us, right? Because with social media, it just has changed our lives, right? And I think
Hmm.
sometimes it's good, definitely, right? With advances in technology and ways to connect, but then sometimes it is keeping us from making some of the deepest connections with ourselves and then people right immediately in our space, right?
Yeah.
We're making connections with strangers,
Yes. Which is awesome.
which is awesome. And then, but some people, maybe not us, neglect what they have right in front of them, which their own family, which is
Hmm.
their marriages sometimes that start falling apart,
Ooh,
right?
yeah.
So
That's
it's like a
another
blessing and a
conversation.
curse. You said what?
I said that's another conversation right there for sure.
Yeah.
So, let's see here. What parallels do you see between helping women rebuild after divorce and families, and helping the families find new homes? Like, how does that work as you being a realtor and you're
Mhm.
helping them through the program? What does that look like for them?
Right. So, just like any other opportunity as a realtor, right? What I do for people that are ready or think they're ready or just even interested, right, in home
Mm-hmm.
ownership, we provide home ownership education for them,
Yeah.
right? That's the first step. So with these divorced women, many of them have been in homes prior, right?
Okay.
They purchased before. Maybe they were more or less involved, depending on how the relationship was with their spouse, but we start them all over again as new buyers. But because they are divorced and some have been through the process, and just while they're still going through the divorce process, we handle it with kid gloves, right?
Yeah.
Because we know there's a lot of emotions there. There's, the cutting the ties from that family home that had so many memories as they're getting ready to go into, a new property. There's the thought of, how can I afford this, right? And so we walk them through the financial literacy aspects. We walk them through the credit, which is always huge.
Yeah.
Share with them information on programs that may be available to them, right? So we equip them with all the information and the resources and try to help them find the money
Yeah.
that they're going to need, because that's very important.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Um, to move forward, right? And so, actually, Kay, I just got the approval from Chase Bank, I think, since I last talked to you.
Yeah.
So we're moving forward with that in
Awesome.
November. In particular, we're going to be working with military and veterans for the home ownership program with Chase.
Okay.
Because if you're active military or veteran, chances are you have a VA eligibility where you can put no money down
Mm.
and own a home. Plus, there's some extra benefits for being in the military and a VA and a veteran. And so, yeah, I'm really excited about that program. And not only did Chase approve it, right? But I just met with the VA officials today. I was at Veterans Affairs today. They're excited about it. So they're going to come and share. And so the good news is, even though I'm local in DC and our announcement to the public will be in person,
Mm-hmm.
our military VA homeownership program is going to be virtual. So maybe even some of your listeners, if they're across the country and they're, women that are going through divorce or even just interested in getting a VA loan,
Yeah.
um, they need to join on our upcoming sessions. And I will definitely make you aware of all of that when it kicks off in November.
Awesome. Well, congratulations on that. I'm
Thank you. I'm
super
so
proud of
excited
you.
to have Chase Bank, which is a major
Huge.
national bank, and then the VA
Yes.
come together. So I'm excited about it. And I'm
That's beautiful.
wanting this to really help more of our women. So
Yeah. So what has been the most challenging part of launching or, growing Restore Her? From I know that when you started, it was something else, and then so you made that transition. So has it been any different? Does it feel like it was like a different transformation when it came to rebranding your nonprofit, or was it just like continuing and then it's like, okay, well, we just got a new name? Like, how did that feel for you?
no, it definitely, that was my plan, just switch the name, right? But I realized, and God is showing me that names carry a
Oh
lot of
yeah.
weight,
Yeah.
right? A lot of weight. And so when I had to switch from Redevelop Her, which was still all the same programs, all the same services, these women
Mm-hmm.
are being redeveloped, right? Still offering the same, resources and information, but Restore Her is a little bit more personal, I believe.
Yeah.
And so for me, it wasn't just a name change, it was I'm actually being broken down and restored through this process, which I never saw coming. And so, it's been tough personally because I've been divorced almost 7 years and I've been handling things, been making moves. God's been blessing. Like I've been able to make some major strides, probably more so than when I was married. So I'm thinking,
Yeah.
okay, I'm kind of cruising. I'm on cruise control. Okay, the moment I changed that name, like stuff just started, I don't know, I don't say falling apart, but my foundation started getting real shaky, like
Yeah.
extremely. And so, but now I can look back because it's almost been a year and I can look at how God has
Mm.
kept me daily, daily when I could not see anything in front of me. But I said, you know what, Stephany, don't keep it out of shape. You ain't gonna cry, but so much. You're just gonna know that God's got you. And when I
Everything.
tell you, at some point I'll be able to share the full testimony. When I tell you that God has sustained me,
Mm-hmm.
because my business, a lot of things had just slowed down. And so I'll just say that while it has been challenging, I'm excited for where I am. Some of the growth, like you asked, the challenges of growing a nonprofit is we're small. We don't have a lot of money. I have a board, but I really needed an assistant. Well, I got
Hmm.
an assistant now, right?
Yay.
And then I will say, and hopefully you and your listeners can relate, some of the challenges, start at the head. So I have to own that, right? With not procrastinating,
Hmm.
right? Because I believe God gave me all these ideas and all these things I want to do, like this chase event. I thought about it, now we're making it happen, right?
Yeah.
And I sit on things, right? Can't sit anymore because now I got major players paying attention to us. So if anything, Kay, I would say the name change was significant. It brought on challenges, but only by God's grace was I sustained. And now God is showing me, get out of your own way. Get out
Yeah.
of the way and do the work that I said I wanted to do, that I believe He called me to do.
Awesome. So, how do
So
you balance your vulnerability? That is so hard to say with your strength when it comes to leading women who are hurting.
that's tough, because I am very much a marshmallow heart. Like,
Yeah.
I have a tough exterior and demeanor sometimes
Hmm.
because I've had to. Sometimes that was trauma related. Sometimes that's just like I'm the oldest child. I was always defending my sister, so I'm gonna go hard.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's I'm tired of people trying to take advantage of me, right? So I gotta show you what you're working with, right? And so, for me, I always have to say, who I really am is a very sensitive, empathetic
Right.
person. And I know with other women, just like me, the tough exterior, that I don't need you, the da 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 da. So what I
Hmm.
try to do is just tap into where I know we all are,
Yeah.
right? That inner being. That other stuff is a result of trauma a lot of times. And so I just lead with the heart, really, right?
Hmm.
And then sometimes it's difficult because everybody doesn't receive that right away because everybody can't
Right.
trust that, right?
Hmm.
But once a woman has let me in, so to speak, then I can relate, like, and I try to make myself relatable.
Right.
So that's why I believe I am as vulnerable and transparent as I am, because I want people to realize they can be safe with me,
Yeah.
right? But that's hard for people to realize because we've been so wounded that
Hmm.
they don't recognize, oh my gosh, she's a real person. She
Right.
does care. She's not out to get me. She's not out here sharing my business. You know what I mean? And so
Hmm.
I say I lead with vulnerability in order to try to make other people feel safe.
Yeah.
But I also realize I've had to show tough love too
Hmm.
to help these same women who show up tough but are really just sweethearts, to help them push through where they need to go. Maybe just like our mothers
Yeah.
love you to death, but sometimes she's got to light a fire,
Hmm.
right? So I would say that's what I do. I try to lead with my heart, um, and then just let the rest come into play. And hopefully that'll be enough to get the women to relate and be able to move forward accordingly.
Yeah. Awesome. So, since you have the nonprofit and it's mostly about women and divorce support, and not a lot of nonprofits are about that, that we hear about, rather. I'm not gonna say that
Right.
it's not many out here. I don't hear too many, like you said before. But have you faced any criticism for starting this nonprofit? And if so, how did you handle that?
It's so funny you say that. I wouldn't call it necessarily criticism,
Hmm.
but when I do hear anything, it'll be from men talking about, well, what about the men?
Yeah.
You know, they big babies. They always feel left out, right? And so what I tell them is, first of all, I love that they're looking for help,
Yeah.
right? Because men often have to portray themselves as not needing help.
Right.
right? That they can do it all. So that's the first thing. I respect the fact that they're acknowledging, even through their, being frustrated with my services, that they're in need of help. But then the other thing I tell them is, I just feel like I can relate to women in our experience.
Yeah.
I don't want to take on a man. I wish there was a brother organization, right,
Mm-hmm.
that did the same thing for men. And there may be, like you said, we don't know everything. There may be, because I would definitely refer some of these men
Right.
that I'm hearing from. But I always try to tell them, I understand we all need help,
Of
right?
course.
We all do. And so I just try to let them know I just feel more equipped to work with women because I understand that men have their own set of concerns. They just do things so differently
Yeah.
that, you know what I mean? I can't even relate other than having experience through my ex-husband. So I'm just like, I'll leave that to the guys. But I haven't really faced any major criticism because I also lead with the fact we don't advocate for divorce. So we're not trying to tear up families. So that's
Yeah.
another thing because sometimes people may be like, oh, are you, trying to keep families separate? No,
Yeah.
the woman has to make that decision. We're just
Mm-hmm.
supporting her once she does that.
Right.
Right. But if people get back together, so be it. Hallelujah.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, so I don't really get, thankfully, what I would call much haterism
Good.
as it relates to Restore Her. But like I said, it's usually guys, it's usually in jest. And so I'm just putting it out there. If there's a gentleman, I think it was what is it called? My Future Wifey podcast. He was divorced. So he
Okay.
kind of does some healing on there,
Okay.
right? For couples. But it's a little different. It's more relationship based.
Mm-hmm.
But I think there are men starting to pick up that more men need, services.
Yeah. Speaking of that, I know we're talking about Restore Her, but when I was working for a company, I can't disclose the name, but there was a lot of men that did call in that needed a lot of help, and it was so unfortunate to have to turn them away because there wasn't a lot of resources for them. So if somebody knows any resources out here, please in the comment section put it
Exactly.
out there. Okay.
They need help. And guess what? I didn't want to be bitter in my divorce, and I'm not with my ex-husband.
Yeah.
I just feel we all need, right? We all do. It's not, well,
We're
I did
human.
this, I was perfect, and he was horrible, he was a monster. That's not what we're doing here. That's
Right.
not what we're doing, right? We have to own and be accountable for who we are
Mhm.
and how we show up.
Yeah.
That's what we're working on. And if we keep pointing the finger at the other person, that means we're not
Growing.
addressing
Yeah.
ourselves.
Hmm. Awesome. So, forward thinking, okay, where
Okay.
do you see Restore Her in the next 5 years? You've accomplished in the 3 years some amazing accomplishments. So, given the next 5 years, where do you see?
Definitely see us. Oh my goodness. Thanks for asking this, Kate, because now I'm gonna have to do a 5-year plan, which I
There
probably
you
should
go.
have already had. I told you I'll procrastinate.
That's okay.
Wow, I definitely see us still offering our core services,
Hmm.
but definitely impacting more people, right? More
Yeah.
women, more families, more communities. Um, in the 5 years, though, I definitely want to beef up our housing services. That's still a huge, huge issue.
Yeah.
Meaning, what I would like to do is be able to get us some transitional homes that we own so that we can actually place families. I would love
Hmm.
that is a big deal. I actually spoke that today at the VA. And
Awesome.
so that is something that I definitely could see in 5 years,
Hmm.
as well as starting to grow chapters across the country
Yeah.
for Restore Her
I
to
love that for
expand.
you. Because
Yeah.
I don't think we have discussed, we might have. I know when I was doing a couple of things for work for you, I lived in a transitional home
Mhm.
at that point, and I call it my little safe haven. I still go over there, and
Yeah.
just it is like my own little paradise. I go chill. I'm allowed to still go and hang out, but it was such a a point in my life where I can just breathe. And
Yeah,
it's so awesome to have that resource to be able to breathe and take a second and say, I'm gonna be okay. I can fix this. Just because I don't have my husband anymore, I can move on. And you have people that pray with you, that is helping you financially to get to the point that you need to be at. All of that is so beautiful. So I love that for you for sure. And I look forward to seeing that happen. And
yeah.
prayerfully, I'll still be
Yeah,
around
because I
here
lived
and
in
I can go see.
transitional housing. I lived in transitional housing too. So,
Hmm.
and we went through the process. We were placed in a home that the nonprofit had just got through HUD,
Uh-huh.
fully furnished. I mean, my
Yep.
kids had one of their best years there because it allowed us to save money.
Yeah.
It allowed our kids just to have everything they needed, excess just taken care of. And again, I believe that happened so that I could move forward and offer that
Hmm.
future. So that's a big goal
Awesome.
is to actually put people in homes.
Awesome. If you could expand the reach of your nonprofit or to your nonprofit, what's one area of support would you do it so that you could see yourself going beyond just doing the nonprofit? Like, do you want to have a conference? Do you want to write a book? Do you want to do something
Oh,
bigger? Like, what else is there that Restore Her could offer for those that may can't reach you in that personal level, like in your area?
oh, sure, sure. So for me
Excuse me.
personally, definitely the book is loading.
Awesome.
Definitely. Conference for sure. We did our first conference virtually.
Okay.
So for people that are not there, we did it this spring. It went off without a hitch. And it was, and I would say all day. I think we started at 9:30 and it wrapped up about 3.
Oh,
Oh, it was
wow.
amazing. We had some great speakers. Yeah.
Yeah.
So next year it'll be in the fall, but it'll be both virtual
Okay.
and streaming, I mean in person as
Okay.
well.
Yeah.
So definitely the conference is the book, and then me just speaking, sharing more. One to create awareness for the organization, and then for me to also build my speaking career. So
Awesome.
all of those things are loading as we speak. I'm excited. I'm excited for um, what our future can look like. And to your point, right now we're located primarily in the DC, Maryland, Virginia area. However, everything we're offering for the most part is virtual so that
Hmm.
we can attract more ladies.
Awesome. Okay. So, what is the legacy do you hope that women can take away from Restore Her or any work that you do?
Oh my goodness. What is the legacy? Well, I believe the legacy is just our foundation, right? And for me, my faith, right? Ultimately, no matter what happens, no matter what we do, whether divorced or not, I've had business, I've lost business, I've had good days, I've had bad days, right? But ultimately, what I believe that this organization is doing, besides helping women get back on their feet successfully,
Hmm.
it's just reconnecting them
Yeah.
to God ultimately, right? Because sometimes we lose that connection. And it doesn't mean things are always bad. Sometimes we're so overwhelmed and excited and distracted
Yeah.
by all the good things we got going on,
Right.
right? Sometimes we lose a little focus, right? And me first, down talk to me. So hopefully what I'm showing is not only is God able to restore you and all those things that you feel like you lost,
Hmm.
but restore that relationship
Yeah.
with Him.
Okay.
So hopefully that's a legacy because that's a legacy that keeps on giving and
Yes.
giving and giving, right?
Definitely.
Yep.
When you reflect on your journey, Um, what would you like to tell your younger self?
What would I tell my younger self?
Mhm.
Girl, you got it going on. No, and I mean
Oh,
that
yeah,
in
that's
a
wrong for it.
very humble way.
Yeah.
I mean that in the sense that I didn't know who I was.
Mm,
I didn't know all that I had to offer. I didn't recognize my own value. I didn't have the confidence that I have today,
yeah.
right? I didn't have the self-esteem that I have today. And a lot of that has to be nurtured, but it starts when we're just wee little people, right?
Oh, yeah.
And so some of us get a lot from our family and situations, some not so much. Some of us got to kind of learn it along the way. And you
Hmm.
may start out strong and then things happen and you just lose it and then you got to build it back up, right? And so what I would say is to my younger self is to just know that one, I am it. I am it. I am, right? It's God, right? I am.
Yes.
I am it because I am part of Him. And if I am it, that means I can do all the things
Yeah.
that I said I wanted to do. I didn't have to have the doubt. I didn't have to have the fear,
That's
right?
right.
So just really knowing that, when they say, look in the mirror and tell yourself, you are enough.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm enough. I may be too much for others.
Very
I'm
much.
enough, right? I'm enough. And not only am I enough, but God has just given me everything, everything. And again, through people, but that I would be okay, that I would be all right. I never had to doubt
Hmm.
because He already had it worked out.
I love that.
You know what I mean? So I would just really try to tell myself, I give myself a hug, like, oh my goodness, girl, you have no idea of who you really are.
Oh.
And again, in a humble and gracious way, but
Hmm.
also in an empowering way,
Yeah.
not to be used against other people to think that we're better than,
Right.
but just to know I have it. I have whatever it is I thought I was lacking. I have
Yeah.
that too.
I love that. I saw on Pinterest. I love Pinterest. Okay.
Because
There
you're
was
creative.
yeah. There was a photo shoot
Mhm.
that someone had did, and it was a picture. It was obviously their daughter. But they had their daughter in the mirror, but they were standing on the other side of the mirror. And so it kind of looked like they was looking at themselves in the reflection. And so
Mhm.
when I was thinking about that question, that picture popped in my head. I don't know why when I saw it, I cried. I was like, oh, that's so
And you know
cute.
what's so funny, Kay? I've seen it now, but this was like years ago. I wanted to create mirrors with nothing but affirmations all around them for little girls.
Yeah.
And I see it now. You can, be creative and do it yourself.
Yeah.
But that was something I wanted to do. And not only with the affirmations, but it actually speaks to you and says it like you record, you speak into it, and then you know what I mean? You hear
Yeah.
it back, your daily affirmations.
Oh, I would love that. Adults need that too.
I know. Because now we're getting all this stuff, right? Now we're
Yeah.
getting all this stuff. But yeah, so you can hear your own voice because sometimes I don't know if we could really hear ourselves.
Hmm.
Like when I was on my radio programs and stuff, and I started hearing my voice, I'm like, that's what I sound like.
Yeah. There's
It's
an
always
app.
weird when you hear yourself.
It is. There's an app called the Parrot. I think it's called Parrot. Okay. It's an
Okay.
app. And it's usually used for studying. And
Uh-huh.
so I did a review on it like maybe a couple of years ago, but you speak into it and then it repeats. So like if you have to study something, then you can just press play and it'll keep repeating itself. And so like you know how like when you go to sleep and they say if you listen to something that is repetitive, then you can remember it or
Hmm.
whatever. And so that's what that's for. So that would be something in a alternative way to do that, but I would still
Mhm.
like a mirror, honey. Just look at myself
Right.
and then talk to me. I would love that.
I do that in my coaching. In my coaching training, I buy handheld mirrors
Uh-huh.
about like this big, but just enough where sometimes you may be going to an interview, you may be going to a meeting like I was earlier, where you just got to encourage yourself. Sometimes you just got to look at yourself. You
Yeah,
got to speak life into yourself. It may not
that's right.
always be as you're getting ready to start your day, but in the midst of your day, pick
Hmm.
up that mirror and be like, I see you. You got this. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, I don't do that. So you
a
know
lot
what?
of us don't.
I'm gonna start doing it. Y'all ain't gonna
It's
be able to
very
tell me
important.
nothing.
How about that boldness? You got work you're trying to do. You got things you're trying to do.
That's right.
So
I love it. Well, what's one mantra or affirmation that you live by that you love to share with your listen? Well, with my listeners, your listeners, everybody listening, whoever listening.
ooh, a mantra. That's a good one. Hmm. Well, I used to say it was a Frederick Douglass quote,
Uh-huh.
there is no progress without struggle, meaning you don't know if you've ever achieved or made it or had success if you never had any struggle, you never had anything to measure it against,
Hmm.
right? And so, but for a while, I think I got caught up in that struggle, that struggle piece, right? So now my thing is more what I'm learning more than anything is I have the power, you have the power, your listeners have the power to create whatever it is they want to create. Like
Yeah,
we are powerful.
that's right.
Our minds are powerful. So every day with new grace and new mercies, you can actually, with all this internet, with all this social media, with all the tools, with all the resources, you can actually design an amazing life for yourself,
Mm-hmm.
no
Very much
matter
so.
what you're starting with. And so for me, I just say, we're limitless, right? We're limitless. There's so much that I have to work with, right? And so again, I said it earlier, it's just getting out of my own way and asking for the things that I want. I'll say this all the time too, closed mouths don't get fed.
Yeah,
People can't help you if they don't know what you need.
that's
And what
right.
I've learned more times than not, people are willing to help you.
That's true.
You always get those one off, right? But for the most part, I think the world is made up of genuine, loving, caring people for the most
That's right.
part. Because I meet them all the time and I know
Mm-hmm.
I'm not special, right? And so I just believe we could pretty much have just about everything that we're asking God for,
Yeah.
and sometimes I think we forget that because we get caught up in the challenges of life and our seasons where it's not as plentiful of a harvest, right? So we just get distracted and we forget like we have access to everything. And for me, that's exciting. Like
Right.
it really, I don't know. I don't know sometimes how to contain it. It can be overwhelming, but then when I just think about like in 24 hours, not even your life could change. One chance encounter, something you come across on social media, some amazing business you just created. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like, don't count yourself out
That's right.
because we just never know what's coming. So, girl, I got a lot of mantras that I use just
Well,
to
that
keep
that's good
me
though.
inspired because I think we just forget what we're capable of,
Right. That's right.
right? So I don't know. That's more than one, but I'm just telling you, every day I just try to remind myself of I got a lot to work with.
There you go. I
Yeah.
love it. So, I'm done with my questions, but what or how can people follow you or follow Restore Her? How can they get involved? And if they're volunteer opportunities, how can someone
Sure.
reach you and Restore Her?
Sure. So, and thank you for asking that. So, if people want to reach out, they can reach out to me at the letter S and my last name, DeBerry. So, SDEB as in boy, ERRY at Restore Her. So, we got to put that H in there. RestorHer.org. So SDberry at RestorHer.org. That's one way, that's email.
Mm-hmm.
Then you go to our website that you designed that we're going to be revamping. I'm so
There we
excited,
go.
which is RestorHer.org,
Mm-hmm.
right? We have the website. Then you can also find our Restore Her group on Facebook, just the way it's spelled,
Okay.
right? We also have an Instagram page. It is RE underscore stir, like underscore her, and then it's like 501c3 MPO because somebody else had restored, So we had
Okay.
to get a little creative with it. But either way, we're on Instagram too. And then folks can just follow me on my main Facebook page and access me there that way. Stephany DeBerry, Stephany with a Y, right? So there's many ways that people can get in touch, and I hope people will get in touch.
Yeah.
Like if they have any information they would like to share with us, or aware of any events coming up they would like to share with me or the organization. Also, if they would like to participate in any of our events, or for instance, be a volunteer, or if you'd like us to come speak to your group and let them know that we have some resources and a sister circlehood of a sisterhood and a sister circle of support, please reach out. We'd
Yeah.
love to be of service and, support.
Actually, I'm sorry I lied. You have something that you do monthly, that's
Uh-huh.
coming up on Monday. And we need
Yes.
to tell them about that so they can follow you and then they can be able to participate if they can't make it Monday.
Yes.
So,
Thank you for saying that. Kay, you just been getting it good today. So on Monday, which I believe is the 22nd of September,
mhm.
we are having, every month we do a free online session. So this upcoming Monday will be all about health and wellness, because while we're helping these women rebuild, we got to get these temples right too, right? We
Mhm.
understand. And so, even if you don't exercise as much as you should, because I know that I don't, right?
Me either.
Even if you're a procrastinator like I am, no matter what, we need to at least move our bodies and stretch. At
Mhm.
least stretch every day. Now, what I have learned since I have gotten older and working out is stretching can be painful too.
Very much so.
However, we need to do it because stretching relieves trauma,
Mhm.
right? And tension in your body. It also increases flexibility. It's just a good thing to do, right?
Yeah.
And so Monday at 7 o'clock, if you go to my Facebook page, if you also go onto the Restore Her group page, you see the flyer. Kate also has it and can share it. It's free. It's online. Monthly events are always free, but this one is for the month of September. So come stretch with us. You don't need anything. I mean, if you have a bottle of water, a towel, if you have a mat, if you don't have a mat, doesn't matter. We're going to be getting on the floor. We're going to do it online with my personal trainer who is amazing. So I'm
Awesome.
excited about that.
Thank you for sharing.
Thank
Well,
you. Thank you.
yeah. Well, thank you once again, Stephanie, for letting me chit chat with you for a little bit. It's always beautiful to see you and to talk to you. And hopefully, I'll have you on for something else that I'm going to talk to you when we get off of here about, because I can't tell them yet. So we're going to say bye bye to
Bye bye,
everybody.
everybody. Thank you so much, Kay. I appreciate the opportunity to share with your audience more about Restore Her.
Thank you, Stephanie.